Welcome back to another preview episode of Banditland Boulevard. You got myself, Trevor Hauer. We got Tony LaMonica there on the bottom. We got a special guest from Trainwreck Sports. We got our boy, Zach, Maniac. How are we doing going into Fan Appreciation Night? Have a lot on the line right now. One win clinches them the number one seed. How are you boys feeling tonight previewing the Fan Appreciation Night coming up this Saturday?
Feeling great.
Zach, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I mean, a winning solves everything. So the fact that in their last game, the Bandits got a dub, that's a big solution. Obviously, am I nervous that, we haven't gotten a win in Banditland in a minute? Yeah, I mean, that makes me feel a little uneasy. But obviously, it seems like we have the antidote on the horizon with the chance to clinch first place overall, beat Halifax at home on Fan Appreciation Night. It's just what the doctor ordered, Tony.
And in case you guys don't know, Maniac, Zach, he has his own show on Trainwreck Sports, Banditos Podcast. So you guys got to check that out too.
We're still in newborn. We're still a newborn baby compared with Bandits Boulevard. You guys have been doing it over here for a minute. So no, I appreciate you guys though. Thank you for the shout out, obviously. And obviously it goes without saying, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, no problem, Zach.
Yeah. So in case you are bored with just me and Tony, you got another there. So if you guys want to check that out, Tony, how are you feeling going into this Saturday? We got a lot on the line. I mean, home playoffs, we could check that off. Playoffs, check. Number one seed time. How are you feeling, Tony?
I'm feeling actually very confident about how the boys did from last game to now. Like we said about the last post-game show, I think it's the foot on the gas and don't look back. With the way how we were going from winning 15-10 and now coming home, we have the momentum on our side. We have 19,000 possibly strong going to be there this Saturday. I got a great shot at we go winning throughout the entire playoff race right here from here. We win these last two. We make a statement going into the playoffs in May.
Damn, dude, that's bold by you, but hey, I love that. I mean, we kind of saw that last year, didn't we? After the overtime loss to now defunct Panther City Lacrosse Club, Bandits went undefeated the rest of the way and won their first 7 going into this year. They had some of that carryover going into this year, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. But you got a Halifax team who definitely plays their best lacrosse against the Bandits. They got a lot of firepower on that team. The former Rochester Nighthawks before their expansion, and then Terry Pagula bought the new expansion Nighthawks, and that's all a mess. But this is a team that the Bandits haven't seen this year. There are a couple players on the Bandits that Halifax really hasn't seen, but every time these two face against each other, it is back and forth. I still remember that Chris Kluche game where he came back from injury a couple years ago and scored the overtime winner at the KeyBank Center. You can expect a night like that at the KeyBank Center if you are going, but we got a lot on the line. And honestly, if you want to win a game to clinch the number one seed, you like Zach said, you want to win at home because, damn it, 3 out of the 4 losses have been at home in Banditland. Something that just doesn't taste right. You got to get that sour taste out of your mouth. You want to think about resting some of your starters on April 19th when you're in Duluth, Georgia, too. That's another thing. So to pick up the number one seed is huge going into this Saturday and winning at home.
Yeah. No doubt about it, obviously. And Halifax, I mean, if you think they're going to roll over, guess again, it's obvious just taking a look at the standings. They're 2 games behind the Bandits. So what they're saying in their locker room right now is let's go get a win in Banditland. The other teams have done it this past month. They'll try and replicate that formula. What a quick start. That's what teams have been doing against, the Bandits in Banditland. I think the San Diego Seals got off to a strong start. And then obviously a couple weeks ago on WWE night or wrestling night, they got up to a strong start there. But at the end of the day, the Bandits just need to lock it down. They need to do exactly what they did last week against the Mammoth. They need to take whatever chip they had on their shoulder last week against the Mammoth that basically led them to smothering them for the first 25 minutes. They did score a couple of goals in that late first half. I think it made it 5-4, but I believe the Mammoth only had like 1 or 2 goals through the first 25 minutes. You play like that in the NLL, you're going to obviously win a lot of games, Tony.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you put the gas pedal down and your offense is just clicking nonstop and you're just finding a rhythm and scoring those goals as much needed as possible, I mean, the strategy has been switching on and off this whole season, regardless of the 7-0 start to now that we look like we were fading away like the champs of old. But you got to also understand that once this offense starts to click again and the defense starts to be solid, the goaltending we already know has been solidified as the best. But if all sources click, this team can never lose. And that's the kind of mentality the Buffalo Bandits have to go against this Saturday night and so on when they move forward going into playoff season.
And Tony, I feel like we really mention it all the time. The top teams that face against the Bandits and sort of try to get the best out of them, their game plan is to shut down Dane and Josh. Those are your primary guys. Yep. But what does that do when you're putting extra pressure on those two? That opens up lanes for Kyle Buchanan, Chris Kluche when he's healthy, Clay Scanlon,
Chase Fraser,
Ian McKay coming off of a fresh Hattie over in Denver, Colorado last weekend. That is an area that other teams have been really getting snake bitten by. But the teams that have figured out the Bandits are beating them in the trenches. They're beating them defensively and with strong goaltending. Christian Del Bianco looked like an absolute freak out of his head on wrestling night there in Vancouver. He made some huge saves, especially in that second half. But you look at the past two games, it's night and day difference. I think the Bandits went a full 15-minute stretch without scoring a goal against Vancouver. You didn't really see that against Colorado, and what do? They pot in 15 goals. Even a goalie goal from Matt Vince. I still can't get enough of that.
Time.
Matt Vince score on the empty net. It definitely would have been better if it was at home. We would have seen Matt Vince. I think the roof would have blown off the place if Matt Vince were to score an empty net goal at home. And sometimes, Tony and Maniac, we mention this all the time on this show. Sometimes for the Bandits, at least we've seen this pattern over the past few years. Sometimes it's just a calendar switch from March to April. They're in the dog days of March. They're going to lose a couple of these games down the middle of the stretch where they start to run out of gas, and then the calendar switches to April, and then that's when they kind of go in lockdown mode. That's when they kind of start to turn it on, carry that hot streak going into the playoffs. I think this is a tough test, but when the Bandits get a tougher opponent on the schedule, they tend to play up, and then when they get someone that's way below them on the standings, they do tend to play down. So I think it is to their advantage that they're facing against a team that's in the top three of the standings like Halifax.
This is definitely a good smelling salts opportunity. Obviously, would you, I'm not going to lie. Would you kind of prefer a softie on Fan Appreciation Night and to get off the Banditland side a little bit? But at the same time, who do you want in your clinching game before you can rest going into the playoffs? That would be a strong team. So, let's come out and obviously do what we've done. And you made a great point that, they've kind of had a little bit of a puberty growing pains this year. It has been Dane or it has been Josh in the last 2 years that have always kind of been like the Captain America and Iron Man. Now again, I'm not dispelling, that Deoga or, McKay, obviously Buchanan, these guys in the past have obviously done a ton and been role players. But now there are legitimately games, this sounds almost crazy to say out loud, where the Bandits are going to need those guys to get hat tricks. Josh and Dane are going to have to defer based on how the defense is playing them. They command so much attention that the Banditos really do operate a little bit smoother when they can defer to those guys around the net, just like you were saying.
Yeah, secondary scoring has been huge this whole entire season, especially with with Clay Scanlon, Kyle Buchanan, the names you mentioned. If these guys
Scanlon was unbelievable against Colorado.
Unreal. He deserved that heavyweight belt that he deserved, that he scored those 2 goals clutch. Especially with Chris Kluche being hurt and not being that other lefty strong left-hander that we needed too. But
Cam Wire's coming back too, Tony. That was big.
Yeah.
Big.
But like I said, we've been talking about this all season long on Banditland Boulevard, is that the secondary, God forbid, if Josh and Dane can't even score one, you need those guys to step up and fill the shoes. And believe me, when it's not just one player that does it, it's the entire depth roster that does the same job as Dane and Josh can.
Yeah.
And what they also got to do, and which is, like you said, they're the calibers and they have to be the go-to playmakers. That's fine too, because they get mad assists like crazy because they set it up so well, and those guys finish the job. So if we continue that trend, this team is so dangerous now going into the playoff picture, and all the other teams, even though it's only 2 regular season games left, have to be thinking to themselves, what do we got to do to stop the orange and black?
And that the entire league is after these guys. They've been at the top of the mountain for 2 straight years now. And the fact that they are still in the number 1 seed, they thought that they were dead last year, that they were left for roadkill last year when they started off the season 5-6, and they were just fighting for a playoff spot. What do? They get out of the month of March. They win a couple clutch games in April. They put up 18 in Philadelphia, and they don't look back. They completely sweep the playoffs, go 5-0 to start.
Yeah,
this year, out of the gate. No, you're all good. Right out of the gate, 7-0 start, and other teams are sitting there like, here we go again, pretty much.
Obviously, I think it's intimidating for other teams. You see that they're getting everyone's best shot every night. And you made a great point about the calendar turning to April. I mean, that February-March grind was insane. The schedule makers were doing us zero favors. They had double dips virtually every weekend. Now, I get it. They had a lot of bye weeks out of the gate, but you're getting everyone's best shot on back-to-back nights. It's just going to be very difficult in a professional lacrosse league to be successful at the level that the Bandits have been successful. So, obviously, they were able to get off to that great start. It was kind of good that they were able to kind of just tread water during most of those double dips. Now you get back to that the most you'll be playing is one game 2 games across a couple of days versus on back-to-back nights. So now they're more comfortable with that, and hopefully they can get a win on Saturday night and get ready for resting up in that final week. Again, I'm still a novice. I hope we can see some solid rest there.
Now, with what Trevor was saying, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, okay.
No, what Trevor was mentioning too, if God forbid we do win this game on Saturday, I think what they should do is bring up all the guys from the practice squad and give them a little taste of what it is and let these guys cook. And I got a feeling, especially with how they've been sitting back and watching these guys play, if they get out there on the floor, they got something to prove to themselves and to the team. So I think they could be even more dangerous to show these rookies or whoever to come up and really shine for the Bandits. But that's if they win against Halifax this Saturday. Trevor.
And Tony, I know that we mentioned this on the post game, but it's just so funny to me. I know that February, March was a total grind. Going up against Tyson Williams in overtime, you have to come back down 5-0 on the road in Toronto, and then you got to play it back-to-back the next night against San Diego. You lose in overtime. But the games where Clay Scanlon was sent back down to the practice squad, the Bandits went 4-4 that stretch. When he comes back, they start off 1-0 in a very convincing win, probably the most convincing win they've had since the beginning of February where they played Albany at home. Is Clay Scanlon your difference maker? He could be a sneaky weapon. There's a lot of teams that don't have a lot of film on him. It's a lot of the fear of the unknown. They don't really know much about Clay Scanlon. Just a little fun tidbit that we had to throw in there. Halifax, though, they got some guys. They got some dogs still from the OG Nighthawks roster. The number 1 key player that I'm watching going into this game is a bandit killer. We know we have a few of those in this league. Zach Courier with Vancouver comes to mind. But the other one that I'm thinking of right now is Cody Jamieson. I mean, that dude, since wearing a teal and purple uniform with the old Rochester Nighthawks, Cody Jamieson, who's still playing in the league, still potting multiple goals per game, he will find the back of the net. Your goal is to not shut him down. Limit the hell out of him. You're not going to hold Derrick Henry to 50 yards, but can you hold him to 75? It's kind of the same thing with what's his name? Who did I just say? Cody Jamieson. Cody Jamieson is my number 1 key player to watch for the Halifax Thunderbirds, without a shadow of a doubt.
By the way, I thought that guy you were talking about when your thing made that sound, Tony, I thought you were like giving him like a sound effect. I was like, that's sick. Dude, I was honestly,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Dude, like I'm just dead ass, like, if you didn't say anything, I was just like, I was low key like kind of like, I'm not lying, like jealous in my brain. I was like, whoa, these guys got like a soundboard.
Dude, we need a soundboard.
We wish. We really do need a soundboard.
I'm just saying, like, because he's like I don't know. I forget the player you said.
Cody Jamieson.
Trevor, I'm sorry. But yeah, you said the name and it was like, "Call!" like in the background. I was like, they just have like home noise or something.
Sorry.
For the dude, you are.
Hey, that actually worked.
Literally, it was funny and amazing. You look at Jamieson. I mean, obviously, that's who the Bandits are going to be looking to take away. So I'll steal like a tertiary guy. Who they got? Banesh. Banesh has as many assists as James, and he's clearly a stud. Can also move about, kind of like a Derek Roy of old of the Buffalo Sabres. Not a ton of goals, but a lot of helpers.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll be looking out for. Because you're right, Trevor. They're gonna zero in on Jamison. Like clearly, that's the guy you take away. You're gonna be successful against Halifax. But then if Banesh starts deferring, if he starts dealing and dishing like he's done this season so far, the Bandits could still be in a little bit of trouble.
And Benny being a former Bandit, we know about former Bandits when they come back to Buffalo. They do tend to score.
They relish the opportunity.
Yep, they do.
Yeah,
it's always former Bandits is what I always say to whoever sits next to me in my season tickets. But Tony,
that's right.
Number one player to watch for Halifax for you, sir.
Well, I got a couple, but I'm going to say a former Bandit, Thomas Hogarth, has been really standing tall for them and making some ESPN type goals. The way how, to go from team to team, he went to Rochester after the trade, and then now all of a sudden Halifax took him up after he was in Calgary for a year. Seeing him now in Halifax, I think he's found his comfort zone. I really think he has gotten to the point where, I got one of the greatest players out there to, learn from and, be taught and learn some tricks and trades. Cody Jamison, like you said, he's the go-to guy to watch. Thomas Hogarth can almost be like a spitting image mirror of him, and God forbid he gets on a roll. But my other guy that I also wanted to mention is their Fogo guy is Jake Withers. Him versus Farrell has got to be a true testament for Farrell to really step up and say, well, I don't think 50% is going to help us win this game. I think we got to push it to 60 or 70, but that's just my thing. But Withers is one of those go-to guys who can not only win draws, but can also be dangerous and score goals as well. So that's one of the other guys I'd face.
Well, Tony,
isn't it so funny? Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, isn't it so funny that we were talking role players earlier and not to Halta? It's like none of us mentioned Farrell, and it's almost like because he's not really a role player. He's more like he's like Alfred to like Batman, like he's still super essential in the overall operation, like massively essential. But it's like you don't view him as like a role player. Like he's just that essential to where you kind of like write off his like necessity. But yeah, like I think I think a lot of us follow Adam Levi or whatever, like one of the top NLL guys. He was going off earlier about what the Bandits scoring. Like this is good. They're going to break the record from 3 years ago, essentially. And it's like you think about it, like, and they haven't even been like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they've been going off like crazy, like, right? Like it's just kind of like unbelievable. Yeah. So they're averaging 13.5 goals per game. The Bandits are this season. The 21-22 Bandits averaged 13.7. And that was the NLL record at that point. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, just bizarre though, right? Because they didn't feel like they only got 15 last game. They didn't drop a 20 spot, like to move that number up that much. Like
they could have dropped a 20 against Vegas, but they chose not to.
Oh, agreed. They called up the dogs on that one, but no, just I mean, I can't get back to it, and it's tough. But maybe it's a credit to Coach T. Like this is probably maybe the last 2 years. It's been the first year it was goaltending and Josh and Dane scoring out the wazoo. Last year, you got Farrell, and you couldn't lose a face-off, so you were just basically getting the ball back to Josh and Dane every time.
And Matt Vince playing out of his mind.
100%. And now maybe it's finally like the coaching job, finding ways to get the other guys in around the net and the scheming and everything. Maybe this is John T's crowning moment to get this three-peat here.
No, I fully agree. And, we will mention Connor Farrell because the guy that Tony mentioned, Withers, I think if you had a top 5 list, screw that. He's probably top 1 in the National Lacrosse League for faceoffs. I mean, I think Farrell did a great job going up against Albany. His name is escaping my mind right now for some reason. Who was the Fogo guy for Albany?
Joe Nardella.
Nardella. Yes. Thank you, Tony. I think
You're
he's
welcome.
probably second best in the National Lacrosse League. And Connor Farrell played him very well. I think he won 45% of those faceoffs. He was
it was really close to 50%. I mean, he was going back and forth with them. So that's all you need to do.
You know what? In between the pipes, we're going to see Warren Hill. He's had some success, and he's had some very, very rough outings in Banditland on the other side. So Halifax, they got some weapons. Time to have some fun here. Who are your players to watch here for the Buffalo Bandits? I think, Zach, I'm going to throw it over to you first on this one.
Yeah.
All right. For me, then, for Banditland, I mean, he's got to be feeding off of it. He's got to want rest at the end of this season. We were talking about it in the pre-show. Matt Vince. I mean, let's go. How many, what has he got? Nothings on this. And let's face it, if we want to talk about dispersing the responsibility on the offensive side, I think we could also talk about the defensive side. I'm not sure the numbers, but it seems like the Banditos are blocking more shots than ever. They're doing a team effort in front of the net. We get a little bit less rubber on Matt Vince. That means a little less rubber's finding the twine. So my eyes will be on him, but I would not be surprised. Last game was a gem, so I would not be surprised to see another gem in front of Banditland on Fan Appreciation Night.
DJ Pauly D. Paul Dawson's been wearing a lot of those shots. He's been like Jay McKee.
Dude, seriously, like I would not want to be in there, dude. They got the hard rubber coming, like, and even in the NHL, at least they got a little plush like around their legs and stuff. Like these men are just unleashing on each other's shins.
Taking sidearms off the shin, off the calf, dude, that hurts like hell. You know it. And they're just limping over to the bench, and they're out there in 30 seconds when the ball is over.
So sick.
Beastie boys.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
Tony, you, sir?
Oh, man. You know me. I got to go with my guy. And you know who that is, right, Trev? I mean, we've been talking about him all the way.
So does he have
And I met his dad, and I got to say, Kyle Buchanan. I got to stick with 91. Yep. Because of the fact that, he digs for them loose balls, especially in the offensive side, and he finds a way to make a play every single time. And he just goes behind the net, even though that one toe drag goal was taken away from him, but that was pretty. But again, that's a guy who is consistent. You need guys like Kyle Buchanan who stay consistent with getting 2-3 goals per night, creating madness in the offensive zone, making assists happen when he needs to, but most importantly, winning the little battles to win the big game. And that's my go-to guy.
I love that. And I'm just trying to find the exact numbers. Because you know what, Tony? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You've been
right.
We've been on 91 for a couple months now, and it's never
I love it.
Once. So
nope. Gotta stick with him.
That.
I know it's something fun riding with the Buck Daddy, that's for sure.
No, dude, he's so good. Waterbug Short King too. He should be an inspiration to all our Short Kings out there. Dude,
yep.
That dude's a freak. I want to go with Ian McKay. That's my number.
All right.
Stay grinding for it. Let's go.
Dude, already surpassed his career high in goals 2 weeks ago. Potted in another hat trick last week. He's looking for 40 this year, and it is possible with 2 games to go. What's he at, 34, 35 right now? Like the exact stats, I couldn't find those on hand, but I think he's at 34 goals right now.
I'm on it.
With 2 to go, can he get a sock trick at home and hit 40 on Saturday?
That'd be sick.
That'd be juicy.
That would be huge. Ian McKay has probably been one of the hottest sticks on the team right now. Why should that slow down coming back to Banditland on a homecoming here? Trying to take back what once was yours. You want to erase those 3 losses and clinch the number 1 seed. I think Ian McKay is going to be riding high on that one. He's everywhere. He's the ultimate Swiss Army knife. He plays forward. When there's a defender that maybe takes a 5-minute penalty, like we've been seeing a lot in Banditland, he drops back and plays on defense. And he makes a lot of great plays out of the breakout and transition. He's been the ultimate Swiss Army knife. Ian McKay, 100% my number 1 player to watch. But what about, we need a better night out of he needs to take back his home. I think Dane Smith, he had a very rough game against Vancouver. He has the chance to right that wrong in front of the home fans, leads the team or leads the entire league in points right now. Dane Smith, he's another one of these key players to watch for me because I always go back to the Vancouver game. With 36 seconds to go, Dane has the ball. I'm not really sure what the game plan was there to tie the game up at 13. They were just passing around a bunch. Got a couple shots off. Dane wants to.
Can I tell you something, though? And I got to say this going back to that Vancouver crunch time.
Yep.
I think Dane was a little bit blendered at that point with 36 seconds left. Because if you recall, and please tell me if I'm wrong on this, with like 45 seconds before that, he had like a golden opportunities to tie the game that he scores on at least 60 to 70% of the time. And I'm pretty sure the Vancouver goalie, and I pardon the Bandits Boulevard fans for what I'm about to say, made a save with his anus.
No,
like,
he did.
Literally, like the ball was by him up his butt, and like he just like kind of like stopped it. like he did a split on the ground, and I'm like waiting to see the goal, the ref like signal the goal, because I'm like, Dane just went on one-on-one the goalie, and the goalie like fell. Like he definitely saved, and somehow it was just like a hush in Banditland, and I'm just like, what the fuck? But I think he was because I'm sorry, I could not believe. I think if you give Dane that situation, he's scoring 9 times out of 10. So I think he was a little blundered from that one, and and that took his killer instinct. But hey, like we were saying, like you say, always right. That's a moment you'd much rather have in March than have in May.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh, just to answer your goal total for Ian McKay, he has 33 going into Saturday.
Can he hit 7 before the end of the season going into the playoffs?
I think he can.
He needs 4 and then 3. That's probably your most realistic opportunity, unless he wants to score all 7. Hey, you can do whatever you want in front of your home fans, man. If you want to score 7 goals on Halifax, speaking of Halifax, we saw Josh Burns score 7 on them once. I think wasn't that the New Year's Eve game a few years ago? Yep. It's possible. It's possible. Warren Hill, the goalie for Halifax, when you start potting in a couple, the floodgates really start to open, and then he kind of becomes a head case. He's questioning everything. So that pretty much is a very good segue, though, right into our keys to the game. Keys to a Bandits victory, I think. So if that was just a little tease, my first key to victory, you got to get off to a fast start. Kind of like what you did in Colorado. Once you get off to a fast start, build yourself a comfortable lead, and then just maybe 3 or 4 goal lead going into the second quarter. Have them use up all their energy throughout the entire game just by playing catch up alone. Like, they're going to go on a little bit of a run. We see that all the time. We saw that a couple of times in the Colorado game. But as long as you're not getting in your own head, you're consistently scoring every single quarter, you're playing a full 60 minutes, this should be a game that you win at home, and the number 1 seed should be absolutely locked up without question. No shadow of a doubt there.
I agree. You took the strong start. I mean, I was at the Seals game. I was at the Vancouver game. Both times it was like, I love Matt Vince. Matt Vince is our guy. There is no doubt. I would take no other goaltender in the NLL to lead us into battle. But my goodness, like 5 goals, like in each of the first 5 minutes of those games, it just felt like debilitating. Strong start, obviously key. When I look at it, similar to a strong start is on the offensive side of it. They got to diagnose what Halifax is doing. Is Halifax committing to taking away Josh and Dane? Because then Josh and Dane need to realize that our job is to drive the lane, get as far in as we can with the ball, and kick it out at the last second. Because then that's how we get golden opportunity after golden opportunity. If they're not doing that, then obviously it's on 92 and 22 to get after it right away, Tony.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and basically, like you did last game, you kept your composure, you stay out of the box, you win games easy. That's how it is. You basically put them to try to commit penalties like they did, and it was only 3 times. But you know what? If we can get to that standard and stay that way with our penalty killing, or not our penalty killing, but our power play, and I'll stay out of the box like they have, which is shocking to me. That was the first game I'd probably seen in a long time that they have never gotten a penalty called. If we could keep that up, I got a feeling that this could be a walk in the park for the Bandits on Saturday.
There's just so many vibes going into this game, too. I mean, how many sellout crowds are the Bandits going to lose in front of? Like, we don't want to strike out here. I mean, they already lost in front of a sellout crowd against Calgary. Already lost in front of a sellout crowd against Vancouver. They can't go over 3 right now and sellout crowds since the home opener. That is the vibes are going to be high going into this one. They know what's in store. And it's that calendar switch to April where the momentum just switches. And I don't know exactly what it is about that, but this is something that we've been seeing for years on end now. And, we know that, and hey, we are extremely happy about hosting a home quarterfinal matchup. But when it's at the taking, the number 1 seed, you absolutely got to jump on this, especially at home, because I don't know. Do you use bulletin board material? Do you pull a New York Yankees and look at the old film of 2004? Do you go back and watch some of the old heartbreaks and say, do you remember what that feels like? Like, don't lose in front of your home fans again. Remember how bad that feels to lose in front of 19,070? I think Johnny T is going to cook up a masterful plan here. This is what it all comes down to. You do have a couple different games to go. All you have to do is go 500 the rest of the way. You already have the head-to-head against Saskatchewan, which is massive. You absolutely needed that. That was probably the most complete road game, or the most important road victory the Bandits had all season long. So you got them in the rear view. All you need is to go 500 the rest of the way. My mindset is, why delay it? Why delay it to the final week? Get it done now, and then maybe get some of your practice squad guys in Duluth, Georgia, the day before Easter Sunday, and then maybe we can watch those young guys, watch the future Bandits cook on that Saturday. But we'll see. I think my final key to this is, and Tony, I mean, you already said it, but stay out of the penalty box. But
Mm-hmm.
this kind of goes along with that.
Okay.
1 for 3 on the power play it's pretty good, But Halifax has a lot of players on that roster that take a lot of penalties. I mean, Tyson Bell even got suspended for shoving a fan earlier in the season. We know that they take a lot of stupid penalties. The power play has to be elite. The special teams needs to be on point. If you make them pay for their mistakes and catch it behind the 8 ball quickly and just destroy them in the special teams, this is your game to win easily. The power play hasn't been elite all season long, but we see the Bandits starting to heat up now. So why not change that? If you're going to have 4 power plays and maybe they take 8 minutes in penalties, try to go 2 or 3 for 4. Not asking for much, not asking for 100% on the power play, but just dominate them the best that you can on the power play, because we really haven't seen that. That's kind of been a weakness of the Bandits this year. When they get a power play, they hit a lot of posts, and it's a lot of just bad bounces, a lot of bad luck when they're on the power play. But when you just keep shooting and you keep shooting from the point, keep the goalie on his toes the whole time, have him guessing every single shot, they're going to find the back of the net.
Plain and simple. I mean, they do all those things, they'll definitely win. They could do 2 or 3 of those things, and they probably stand a pretty good chance. Get behind them early. If they get ahead early on Saturday, it's over. I'm making that call.
Yeah. Yep.
They've been behind at home a lot, and unfortunately have been gone off to slow starts. They get ahead on that strong start like you were talking about, it's over. They're cruising. And I think, let's face it, this is a veteran squad. Whether you got the captain, whether you got Dana or Josh, all of those guys have a veteran nature. They all know what's at stake with that week off between then and the playoffs. So not to say, again, you take it seriously and you're not overlooking next week. You're just looking at like this as like a 1-week clinch, in my opinion.
You also got to look at, you don't want Saskatchewan to catch you and pass you for first place. Would you rather play the Mammoth in the first round at home, or would you rather play, who's the 7th seed, or would you rather play San Diego? If I'm the Bandits, I want to keep my first seed. I want to play Colorado. San Diego, frankly, scares the living.
Yeah, for the juju, I feel good about Colorado at home. We just beat them. Playing them again, you would just feel confident. San Diego, on the other hand, they were kind of fucking around a little bit earlier in the season. They were up there, and they beat us already in Banditland, so they got a little juju. I want the team that doesn't have the juju. I would take Colorado in that situation for sure.
Well, eventually, you never know. If God forbid we even meet them in the playoffs still after the first round, so that could possibly still happen, and we'd have to go through it. We just have to put that aside and be like, all right, that's regular season. This is playoff mode. We have to beat them where it counts. All right, so what? The season we split. Big deal. The game 3 is right here, right now in the playoffs. That means we're going to be better than you. So that's what they got to keep themselves in their mindset.
I will say I am thanking my lucky stars that we are not in 4th place like Rochester is. I don't, for the love of God, would not want to host Vancouver in the first round for the life of me. In a do or die game 1, in a one and done, like old MLB wild card where it's just one game, it's essentially a game 7. I will take Vancouver in a best 2 out of 3 for sure. Same with San Diego. But if it's a one and done type of deal, essentially a game 7, give me Colorado, a team that the Bandits haven't lost to since game 2 of the 2023 finals, I want to say, in a horribly officiated game, I might add.
No, they did lose game 2. They won game 1, lost game 2, and then won game 3.
So game 2 was the last time they lost to them. That was, we're going on 2 calendar years since then. Give me where I like the odds against Colorado, especially in Banditland. So maintain that first overall spot. Don't even flirt around with second place, because San Diego, you saw what they did on Marvel Night, and you saw how they faced against the Bandits in San Diego. They were both 1-goal games. You can probably expect the same if they were to meet in the quarterfinals. But this is probably one of the best parts of the show, most famous part of the show.
Oh, no, not this. No.
We have yet to get a score prediction right.
I was close last week.
Score predictions
I was so close.
Are the bane of existence. It's low-hanging fruit that we can all do, and everyone has to do. It's like brushing your teeth before you go to bed. Like, you really shouldn't have to do it, but you have to do it, and you don't really know anything. So with that,
the only thing I need now is the floss.
For the Vancouver game, I predicted 13-12 Bandits. I just got the wrong city. I had the right digits. It was 13-12 Vancouver.
That's right.
We have yet to get one right, but I think I will kick things off. I don't see
good.
the Bandits. I don't see the Bandits losing at home in April. I can't see that for the life of me. I think the Bandits go in there. It's going to be convincing at halftime, and then Halifax starts to rally back a bit, but not as much as where you're pretty much having a heart attack at the end of the game. I think the Bandits win this one by 4. Give me a 12-8 Bandit victory.
Wow. I wasn't going to think Halifax get under 10, but damn, if that happens, that'd be sweet. Zach, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, I am going to go with a high-scoring affair. They put this one to bed. Actually, I think they blow them out, and then it kind of gets a little closer later. I got 13-9 Banditos in this one. Fan appreciation night.
Wow, keeping them under 10.
I can't believe they lost with the Bandits World Order.
I know.
Entrance. Oh. I'm having a tough time getting over that, but I think they get their mojo back, Austin Powers style, in this one.
Yes.
Oh man. Saving it for last for me, guys. I don't like it, but that's okay. I know. Oh, God. So I got to still go with the Dubs. I know for that for a fact, but I think it's going to be a back and forth affair, and it's going to come down to the nitty gritty. But this is going to surprise a lot of people, and I think it's going to happen. I got a good feeling. Bandits 16, Halifax 13. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big scoring night for both teams. I think it's a 3-goal difference. But 16-13. Let's go with that.
So the overall theme here is the Bandits win at home, avenge both of those defeats in front of a sellout crowd against Calgary and Vancouver, and clinch the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Sign me up.
Let's do it now.
Sign me up. I mean, that would be huge. We need that to happen. Halifax is no slouch, though, and we will get you here on the post game. Tony is our guy that does this at the end of every show, Zach. He is the absolute king when he starts reading these off. But, Tony, hit us with a sponsor shout-out real quick, bro.
You got it. Banditland Boulevard would like to thank our main sponsor, and that is Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, if you have not checked it out just yet, please mention the boys of Banditland Boulevard, which is Trevor Hauer and myself, Tony LaMonica, also with our special guest, Zach Sheldon, the maniac himself.
Bandito.
Yes. So if you guys want to have great food and amazing service, you'll be treated like family. I guarantee you guys, you will never be disappointed. Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. If you guys want to book your next big adventure, going on a vacation or a cruise, please contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. Also, we'd like to thank those who are watching us live here today on YouTube. Give us that like. Give us that hit that notification bell. Give us that subscribe. God, I cannot talk because I'm really going fast.
He's flying. He's flying.
He's flying all over the place, all over the screen. But give us a shout out, guys. If you want to join in on any of this, please contact us, and we'd be more than happy to have you on the show. Also, we'd like to thank those who listen in on every device known to man, our tablet, your phone, your radio station. It is Spotify. Give us that 5-star rating. We talk about nothing but Bandits lacrosse.
That's it. Well said. Nicely done.
God, that was terrible.
You know what? This is also something that we do at the end of every single show, no matter if the Bandits win 10 straight titles or if they lose 10 straight games. We say these 3 words to sign off every single show.
And we do it like Swenny.
Before we do it like Swenny, we have to thank our guests. Zach, dude.
Yes, we can. Thank you for coming on, bud.
Once again.
Thanks for being so awesome and having me on. Honestly, guys, you guys are at the Boulevard, so appreciate you guys.
Anytime, buddy.
Where can they find your show?
Where can we reach out for you?
So Instagram or Twitter, Banditos Pod. And
yes.
we like to fuck with the throwback 90s and 2000s videos. That's what we do. But yeah, listen, our platform, like, you guys are clearly very knowledgeable about the team. You're getting insight. You're getting ours is more just like the Bandits fucking rock. Like, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like I gotta be honest. Like, I'm just spitting it like it is.
That's okay. Hey,
we love that. We
enjoy it. We agree with it.
Shout out the 90s and early 2000s. Are we ever going to bring back the freaking silk jersey? Come on.
Oh, God. That'd be sick.
They have so many good throwback options, dude. It's like insane.
Like,
we'll have to wait until next year because that's what's going to happen.
Can we bring back the orange with just the bandit eyes? Remember those? The orange ones?
Oh, God. I need that.
Come on. I need to see Nanico, Kluche, Dane, and Josh wearing the old orange jersey with just the bandit eyes. What are we
Hell
doing?
Yeah.
You know, we got to see that. We got to see the Mark Stainhouse threads being worn by players other than Stainhouse, Tavares, and Roger Weiss and players like that. We got to see Dane and Josh. We're in the old threads. Bring the reverse retro concept to the NLL because the minor league baseball did it. You see what the Bisons are doing?
Yep, they're bringing back their old school, their 2000 championship look.
Just saying. But
yeah,
whether the Bandits win 10 years in a row and go on this huge dynasty, or if they lose 10 games in a row, we always say these 3 words at the end of every single show.
Every time.
Chris Swenson, the announcer at the Bandits games. Very easy.
3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bandits! Let's go, boys! Get this W on Saturday. Let's go!
Like Jameis Winston, let's eat one.
Seriously, I'm about to eat a W on a fan appreciation night.
Yes, let's go.
Let's go, boys.